What would you have changed different to what's going on now with your life? What would you do right now if you could go back to being 21? And I'm talking either, we're going to talk in regards to education, we're going to talk in regards to finances, and in regards to women. Those three things. What would you change? If you could go back to being between 18 and 21,
21,
what would you do different?
21 is when me and my first girl broke up. And I was in uni. I probably wouldn't have gone uni.
You wouldn't have gone uni?
No.
Okay, why is that? Why wouldn't you have gone
I
uni?
dropped out.
So you actually went uni back then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have gone uni. I'd have probably stuck to my plan, which was just work. Then at the time, I was just thinking of other things I needed to do. But you know when your family don't believe in your foresight?
Yeah.
So that's why I stuck with uni.
Yeah.
And it kind of slightly derailed other things. And if I was working, I wouldn't have done certain things I was doing then.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So I'd have probably stuck to what I wanted to do, stayed working. And I reckon if I stayed working, it's weirdly, you know what it is here? When you're not seeing things the way you want, you end up derailing other things.
Okay, yeah.
So I reckon if I'd stayed working, I'd have probably ended up being with my girl a lot longer, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. I'd have probably ended up, maybe even probably still till now, who'd have known?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you're not seeing the money you want, like I always say to you, I say, right, anytime my money's low, I'm not horny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah. Like with me, it's just
Is that the two are tied together?
Yeah, the two are tied together. Like I don't want to link no one when I'm not grinding. Like I feel like I just ain't got time for it because you be able to sense my energy is a bit.
So you're saying technically that if you could go back to being 18, 21, you're saying that you would have
I would have stuck to working.
stopped working.
Yeah.
You would have stuck to working. You wouldn't have gone to uni because you went to uni later on in life.
Yeah.
And you're saying that ideally, if
I
you
would have
could
gone
go
to
back
uni on my own terms.
on your own terms. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that was there pressure for you to go to uni?
Oh, my mum, she was education. You know,
Yeah.
like typical Nigerian. So like, I remember I told you how I got to uni was obviously I was playing basketball.
Yeah.
I've gone to America, tried to get into a prep school. In Philadelphia, prep rules are you need to be 25 on. You need to be 18 up until. So the school started on 25th. I needed to turn 19 on the 25th or after.
Yeah.
That was August. I turned 19 on the 17th. I couldn't get 2 years in prep school. If I had 2 years in prep school, that would have been 2 years of basketball before going into uni. So, because I turned 8 days early, I can only get 1 year of school.
Okay.
But when you only get 1 year of school, you can't, to get enough points, let's say like similar to UCAS to go to uni,
Yeah.
I'd have had to do 2 years work of school in 1 year. And to do 2 years work of school, your free time, which would have been on basketball training and that, you have to go extra classes. So you won't be able to get a basketball scholarship because you can't play on the team. So once they've said that to me, I've come back home, and when my ex is like, yeah, I'm gonna fill out your uniforms for you because your mum keeps on mentioning it, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I've literally come back from holiday, and 2 days later I'm in uni.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I've just kind of just done it as okay, seeing as I couldn't get into what I went to.
So you're
in
saying
America.
basically that if you could have just maybe worked in a certain field, you'd have worked your way up in whatever career
Yeah.
that is you wanted
Yeah.
to do. What was your credit like when you was 18, 21? Did you even know what credit was? Did you even know what a credit file was or a credit report was at that time?
No, but at that time it was on point though.
But how do you know it was on point if you didn't know what it was?
You know what it is here? Like, all my direct debits are paid on time.
Okay.
I didn't have as much responsibilities. You get me? Between 18 and 19, all I did that year was work. So I went to uni from 19.
Yeah.
So remember, I took a gap year, and I'd already been working from college days. So I got my first job at 16.
Yeah.
So I was already used to working. So I didn't mind working. I didn't. Like, I was used to having my own money in it. So I didn't I already was in those kind of terms. So I think when things started to mash up was after car phone.
Okay.
Yeah. When I got fired from car phone, it was like
dip from there. So he was kind of like trying to juggle jobs from there. When I was 18 to 21, I think one of the biggest problems that happened to me when growing up was, one of the biggest things that happened to me is there's something they call ACs. And I remember growing up now, I remember being in college and the big boys, I saw the big boys, they were pulling up in compressors. I don't remember what compressors were back then. They're basically the equivalent of like saying a C class that you've got now. So they were compressors back in the day. And I remember that one of the young boys in the college, we saw him doing floss. He was doing gra jaye. So I saw him with his whip. And these times I was like, right, how'd you get the whip? And he was telling me how. He was saying, all you got to do is give me your bank card and basically I can get money transferred into your account. So basically it was an AC. To cut long story short, when I was younger, somebody put money into my account. Yeah. So obviously I didn't know the whole ins and outs of it. Yeah. I just saw the money in my account. We took the money out. I was doing gra. Only to find out later on now that they're going to put a marker on my credit file because of that. So that marker stayed on my credit file for a while. So one thing I'll say to you, if I could go back, one thing I would always check upon is your credit. So all the young boys who are listening now, your credit is very important. Your credit is basically, I'd rather be credit rich than cash rich, because when you're credit rich, you open yourself up to a whole lot of investments and money. So for instance, one of my mates called, I always talk about him. He's got about 5 or 6 properties now. And we both grew up selling cars growing up. And I made quite a lot of money when I was younger, and that was dealing cars. And I always say that the only reason why I didn't jump into drugs or jump into fraud is because my role model at the time was selling cars. And that's why I went into that field. So I don't ever try and sit on a moral high ground to say that I wouldn't have sold drugs or done fraud. The only thing is that I was fortunate enough to know how to sell cars. So growing up now, definitely I would sort my credit out. And any of you guys now who are young and any parents watching, try and sort, you can actually add your child onto a credit card or get a credit card and get your child on it. And that way you can boost their credit. Because I would always say that if I could go back, the first thing I would have done is bought a property. Being at the age of 22, 23, I had about 30, 40 grand around me. And I could easily have bought property at that time. But because my credit was so bad, I couldn't get into property. And that's one thing that my friend now has done. And he's probably sitting on about, we're going to bleep his name out, by the way. But he's probably sitting on about, I'd say, 400 or 500 bags right now. That's because of property. So what he's done is been able to buy property and remortgage and do a lot of buy-to-let. So the equity he's sitting on right now is about 300 or 400 grand. And that could have been me if not for my credit. So the first thing I would do if I could go back was sort my credit out. Second thing is become more disciplined when it comes to women. When growing up, I was broke when I was younger. So I got girls here and there, but it wasn't as easy. And I had a mixed race friend called Edward. And we used to go to Trocadero when we was younger. And that was like the playing ground when you was younger. We had Whitgift Centre, we had Debenhams and all of that. We had a little arcade there. And back then it was Daytona. That was the arcade machine. I don't know if you remember Daytona. That was it was a car racing game. That was the game that everyone used to play. So I used to go to Trocadero. And it was then when I realized what, obviously when growing up, you kind of know like what the preference to some women are and what isn't. So when growing up, we'll go to Trocadero. And obviously Edward being, mixed race guy looking like genuine with the curly hair. Girls would to come up to Edward and move to him, and I didn't understand. So when 2 girls would come over to us, I'm thinking it's play for play. One for Eddie, one for me. Yeah. So they'll come over now, and obviously 2 of the girls are here and they're talking to Eddie. So obviously I'm thinking, that one wants to talk to me. So obviously man's trying to put in the work now, and I realized that.
And she said, stay calm.
She said, relax there, guy.
Stay calm.
We're here for him.